The topic I will be discussing today is harnessing the power of IoT in Industry 4.0. As this FTP is discussing about the various technologies that are used in Industry 4.0. So, IoT is a very important part of Industry 4.0 because Industry 4.0 it is focusing on the automation, and IoT has already automated so many tasks in our day-to-day life as well as in industries also, that is known as industrial IoT. So the outline of my presentation will go like this. We will be talking about the introduction to IoT, what are the technological trends, what are the different applications of IoT, major obstacles, what are the research challenges, some of the case studies I will be discussing so that we can motivate our students also to work in these areas. And finally, I will conclude. So this, all of you must have been listening to various experts also in the past 2 days. So Industry 4.0, if the background is that we started Industry 1.0 in the 17s, and after that Industry 2.0, so and Industry 3.0. So finally now we are at Industry 4.0, and now already Industry 5.0 is also related to 4.0, that has some advancements in 4.0. So basically, as you can have a look at this second image on my screen. So Internet of Things is a very important part of all these technologies, and basically other technologies that are the part of Industry 4.0, they are interlinked to this. If we're talking about autonomous robots also, it's only possible if we know something about IoT and we are able to control our robots with the help of some automation techniques. So all these are interrelated, but I will be focusing on the Internet of Things in my talk. So what is actually Internet of Things? Internet connects all people, as we know that we are connected with each other with the help of Internet. We are talking with each other. That is only possible because of the Internet. So IoT connects all things. That is why it is known as Internet of Things. So basically, it is the interconnection of various things, or you can say objects, or some different machines or mechanics. And what are those? Basically, there are sensors, there are actuators. Then we can have our laptops, mobiles, the devices that are connected with each other, and they can interact with each other with the help of the internet. So it depends upon us that where we are going to implement our problem and how we are going to use that particular application using IoT. So if we define it logically, that is a network of physical objects or things that are embedded with certain electronics, softwares. Obviously, when it is embedded, it is some hardware with the software, sensors that are used to sense the different parameters. And obviously, the most important is the network connectivity, a very good network connectivity, which will enable all these objects to interact with each other, to collect the data, and to make certain decisions based upon that data. That actually is the Internet of Things. So what is the history of IoT? IoT became popular in 1999 through this Auto ID Center at the MIT. So the prerequisite was radio frequency identification. There is RFID that we use also now also. That was the prerequisite for IoT in that particular time. After that, near field communications, QR codes, barcodes, though we are using all these technologies now also. So they are the base of IoT, and slowly we are moving further with additions to these basic technologies. So if I talk about the current status and future prospect of IoT, so this is the data of July 2024 only. So the enterprise IoT market by you can see the growth. So it is around 15% per year. It is the growth from 2022 to 2030 is shown in this graph. So we can see that how the market of IoT is growing day by day. Already we are using so many devices at our homes, also in our workplaces also, that are actually using IoT. So we can see the growth of IT. So if we learn this particular technology and we do something in this technology, or we motivate our students to do small projects, and already students are doing, because this is a very common topic in the students, because most of the students, they want to do project. Whenever we ask them, so they are using IoT. That is means this is a buzzword these days, IoT and AI. So as you can see the market also. So if we are comfortable with this technology, so it's very sure that we will never lag behind, because this is the future and this is the present as well as the future also. So we can see the market trends in IoT. So now how IoT works. So as I discussed in my second slide also, it is not just the result of single technology or a single some novel idea. Basically many concepts, they make up this particular technology. So there are various technical developments have been done in the past, and basically they have this has reduced the gap between what is actually virtual and what is actually the physical world. So what are those capabilities? Basically communication, identification, then sensing the different parameters, then actually implementing them, that is actuating, because we have to automate the things. So that is actuating, that is basically the hardware part. And then the embedded information processing, because we have to do this in an embedded way, that is we have to use certain hardware as well as software. And finally the user interface, as you can see in this image. So basically the first part, this is the sensors. That is, if we are working on certain project or certain problem where we want to detect the temperature or the pressure or the humidity, so basically we have to use sensors for that. So based upon what problem we are working on, we can use, there are many types of sensors that are available in the market now. So we can, you think any sensor that you can get from Amazon, or you can get it from the market. So so here I've given just a few types of sensors: motion, temperature, and so different types of sensors they are used. That is the first step. After that we have a gateway, that is we have to use certain hardware where we can implement the code also. And then the cloud server, where we have to store the data and then make the decisions accordingly. And finally, whatever problem you're working on, you have to, there must be a user interface. So user interface can be a mobile app, it can be, so this whole setup, it is the basic of IoT. That is these four I can say these are the basic four steps if you want to implement any IoT problem, any problem based on IoT. So if we think it the other way, so this is just showing you the different, the first step as I discussed, that is this is just the next slide, that is just elaborating that. That is sensing and identification. Basically, you can have different types of sensors according to your problem, and then the network construction, whatever network we are, the hardware we are working on, internet we are using, and then finally we have to process that information, and then finally the integrated application like the user interface. So this is the model of IoT actually. It is just that if you're making a project, so obviously you have to use a user interface. This is basically the model of IoT. That is finally this is the final application that you are working on with the help of IoT. So you must have its sensors, you must construct the network. Obviously, if you're working in a small area, what type of network you will construct? If it is on a larger scale, then what type of network you will construct? And then finally, the information processing, like we discussed, like in the previous slide, it was just on the cloud. So in the cloud, you will process the information, and finally, the integrated application. So as we know, so IoT is actually a network of networks. So basically, we have individual networks, and then they are connected together. Obviously, there are some aspects that we have to keep in mind. That is the added security, the different types of analysis that we have to do, and different type of management capabilities of the data. Because whenever we are sensing certain information, the data has to be stored. So the data management capabilities that have to be perfect, and we have to handle a lot of data. You must have heard the word big data. So all these words: cloud computing, big data, IoT, and obviously if we have to include AI also in this, so that also can be integrated. So it is not just a single technology that is working. It is just a clubbing of various technologies that is working here. So what is the perspective of IoT? So it can be used anytime, at any place, and anything. So human to human, we know already we are using human to think as well as thing to thing also, because IoT is just actually different objects. So it is thing to thing, and anytime it can be used when you are moving. It can be used indoors, outdoors, daytime, nighttime. So it can be at any place, anytime, anything. Just we have to implement it using, starting with the different type of sensors, and then the hardware software part, finally the cloud, and then the GUI or the interface, human interface. So basically, what IoT is doing, whatever earlier we used to do all the tasks of our own, so now IoT is automating. Already we are using. I will be discussing some of the applications that we are already using in our day-to-day life, and maybe familiar about those also. So basically, as I talked about, because it is turning data into wisdom. That is lot of data we are having, but what is the use of that data if you are not able to convert it into something useful? That is, we are converting data into wisdom. Data is collected with the help of different sensors. So as you can see from the slide, so it's a data. After that, that is just various symbols with the help of data, with the help of sensors we can get. Then information, answers to information means whatever information we require from the data, we must have that information. Then knowledge, that is how we are doing all this. Finally, understanding, that is why. And then evaluated understanding, that is converted into wisdom. So this is how IoT is doing the task. So the more data that is created, the better understanding as well as the better decision making we can make with the help of these small projects or various different problems. So this is a technology roadmap of IoT. You can see. So starting from 2020, as I talked about RFID tags and all, so now it's not going to stop anywhere. It is just we are actually using AI also with IoT. So it is not going to stop. Once the basic is clear, we can add different technologies into this, and we can have a good product or a different or good projects or good product. So you can see here finally software agents and advanced sensor fusion, different types, various types of sensors they are used. So it depends upon us that how we are solving our problem with the help of this technology. So the ultimate goal is to automate the human life. Why we are using IoT? Because we want to automate our lives, and that is why we are using IoT. So some of the applications I will be just talking about maybe. So why I want to discuss this, because we know some of these, but we can use them to we can motivate our students to work on these types of small problems, and they can come up with new ideas also. If we give them these ideas, they will come up with some new ideas also, and they can work on this technology. Like, so this is an slide showing a smart home. We have smart media, smart appliances. Already we are having now these smart appliances in our homes, some of them. Then lights and curtain, central AC, video, intercom, safeguarding, that is the security of our homes, and centralized heating. So though we don't have all these technologies implemented fully at our places, but we can try to make small projects on this smart automation projects. Many students they do, and others like the lights and curtain or any other problem that we are facing in our day-to-day life, in our workplaces or at our homes, so we can have use this technology to overcome those problems. So next slide, that is the efficient waste management. This is a very big problem, at least in some cities in our country also. So very big problem, and students they do some projects also, but even now means it is not in all the in most of the cities this is not available. That is efficient waste management based upon the IoT. So basically infrastructure with access to energy sources and long range data communication are part we are using. So like we have bins that garbage cans they are at various places. So once the we can have sensors in there, and when the garbage can is full, the information can be given to at the cloud platform that obviously supports that particular sensing in at that particular area in that particular area, and then the information can be given to the garbage truck, and then they can that this whole process can be automated. So this is one of the example that we can use the IoT for the efficient waste management in our cities, because smart city is one of the major project of IoT, that is in our country also. So we can use this technology efficiently to make this possible in all the cities also. Then wearables, that is another important application of IoT. So most of us are using smart watches for basically health bands or smart watches. So most of them, they are connected with our smartphones, and the watches that you can get all the information from your smartwatch about your daily activity, what your steps, what is the other parameters you might be using. Then we have device like Google Glass. It can have a camera also. So there are so many devices that are available. Smart garments are there. We have sensors in the basically buttons of the smart garments, and they can smell, they can sense the dirt, and they can give you certain information on your smartphone. You can connect that with your smartphone and can give you a certain information. Obviously, you must have the app available in your mobile phones or the smartphones. So this slide is slightly dim, but I will just try to. Here, what I want to say is that, like I was talking about the smart garments, it's written basically there, and variable panic buttons are there. So then driving intervals are there, exact measure garments are there, mood detectors are there. So these are some of the examples of variables that are using IoT as the running technology. Then this slide is showing basically the patterns already we have in our smart watches. So all this is actually possible with the help of IoT only. So we have the sleep, we can get the sleep statistics. That is how much, how many time we were in a sound sleep, and so all these things we can easily see with the help of our smartphones, and this is possible only because of the Internet of Things. So basically means if I talk about that, what is the, so we are just automating our healthcare also. So health is very important. So in our day-to-day life, and now if we see our life 10 to 20 years back, and what is the life now, it's very fast now. It's so we are as the jobs are too hectic, so we are not able to take care of health. So I think this is a very important application. So automating for health is also, we must take care of this also. So the next slide is also about the healthcare industry. So basically we have remote patient monitoring services I will be showing in the next few slides. Then these are some of the applications in the healthcare industry. So telemedicine, that is also possible with the help of IoT only, that is in the remote areas where the doctors are not available, that is also possible because of the IoT. Then medication management, how we can manage the medication of a particular patient. Then clinical care, improved clinical care also. Then employee workflow management and inpatient monitoring of, means basically automating the hospital, the patient, the data, or I can say the data collection, as well as let us say a patient, if the patient has registered on that particular app that is related to IoT, so we can have collect all the information of the patient on that, and we can inform the family members as well as the other, the office, I can say, we can inform the other known people if we have that data, then we can easily, so we can inform the persons, but we must have the data. As I told, we must have the data of the particular person, and we have to store the data on the cloud also. So all these are some of the applications that can be taken care of using IoT. And this is very important application IoT in transportation. Though this has also now, these types of cars are also now they have started. Like we have the external Wi-Fi also, internal Wi-Fi also. So we have cars from MG Hector. They are already having this, that before sitting in the car, you can switch on the AC so that when you are inside the car and driving, you are comfortable. So so this is basically possible only because of IoT. So you can see this light. So you can have the Bluetooth also, internal Wi-Fi, external Wi-Fi. So here it's mentioned. So obviously we currently we are using most of us 4G and 5G. So with the introduction of 5G, the Internet of Things, they basically the applications they have boosted up because the internet connectivity and because of the fast internet connectivity, high speed and low latency. So the 5G has actually boosted the Internet of Things in different applications in transportation as well as in healthcare and various other applications that I am discussing and I will be discussing in the further slides also. Next is the connected car. Next application is the connected car. So you might have heard this. So as we are now talking about autonomous vehicles, you must be knowing about Tesla and other brands also. So connected car. Basically, whenever autonomous vehicles they will be on the road, then 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 how will they manage all the things? So that will be possible only because of IoT. Basically that's why they're saying the connected cars. The cars will be interacting with each other. They will be actually, so it's a very critical thing. It's difficult to believe and imagine at this point of time. But in future, you can see on this slide, so 100% of the cars, according to the data, they will be connected by 2025. Though I don't believe this. This is just data, and 75% of cars on the road will be autonomous by 2035. So this is just the data, but future is this only. So we will have the safety sensors and the other infotainment system inside the car that will be um, based on IoT, obviously, onboard diagnostics and 360-degree camera system. Obviously, that has to be there when your vehicle is going to be autonomous, and it has to be uh, it is driving on the road, and it has to interact with the other cars or sense the other cars that are nearby driving. So this is very important. Though, but this is going to be true in future because of the IoT only. Yes, then IoT is playing a very important role in agriculture. So, in agriculture, because it's a we have the farmers, their job is too hectic. So we lot of automation is taking place in the agriculture sector, and there is a lot of scope if you work in these areas. We motivate our students to work in these areas because these are the real life problems that we are having in our society. So IoT in agriculture is a very hot topic, and we can work on different projects based upon this. That is so you can see here smart sensing and monitoring, then cloud, whatever cloud-based event and data management, whatever data we have to manage. So then we can smartly control the different mechanisms. We can also associate with this robotics. That is, we IoT can work with robotics. So obviously that for that we have to work into the area of robotics also. So IoT and robotics, nowadays they are going hand in hand. Means if we want to solve certain problem with the help of IoT, obviously you will automate it using some robotic thing, right? So like we have like here in this, it's showing that we can use the drones also. So obviously IoT can be used with drones, with robots, and all these technologies they go hand in hand to automate the or to solve our day-to-day life problems in our places as well as in our surroundings, in our for our farmers and for our medical persons. All these problems we can solve it. Yes, then smart grid. Next very important application is smart grid. So basically, smart grid is that whenever we are, I will show you one case study based on this when some students have done the project. So basically, that is Now we have all the systems, they are manually taking the reading of our at our places, and then they are generating the bill. So this is smart grid. Basically, this will use IoT to automate all these needs, electricity needs, as well as automating the billing system. So this will basically, and actually what we can do, if we are controlling it with the help of IoT, even at our places, let us say if we have sensors and we forgot to switch off our fans and the other electric appliances, so we have this also available. These applications, type of applications, are also available. So automatically they will be switched off using IoT, and that will actually reduce our electricity consumption and reduce the cost also, the management of the infrastructure also, and that will be much more efficient and a very good maintenance of our uh, assets. So as I talked about IoT, 5G networks also. So IoT is in 5G networks. So this is how the whole scenario is working. So you can have here the sensing domain. So here we, as you know, the base is the sensing. The first step is the sensing domain. So this is the sensing, and then we have basically the network domain where we are working in 5G. So in 5G, the cell size is less, and that is why it has a low latency and high speed. So, and after that, basically this is the link basically, and the core network, and finally then we are finally the last step, that is the IoT application domain, that which type of application we are using it as a smart home, as e-health, or different types of applications that we can use. Overview of what we have. Security. First is the security point is very important with the different alert systems, connected cars, mobile centric, different like we are using different applications in the mobile. So public transit, we can automate the public transit system also using IoT. Smart automation, that is at our universities. Yes, the next point is thought control computing, that is also possible. So basically, this is a headset uh, that can log into your computer using just your thoughts. So this is just I have read in some paper. So this is just the future, though I have also not used this, but you can see that to what extent we are doing that. Researchers, they basically use this EEG handset to develop a toy car that can be driven forward just with your thought. So basically, with the your basically EEG, what is electroencephalogram of the brain, they detect that, and then they can drive forward just with your thought. So this is a smart sensor that can also there's a smart sensor that can also track your heart rate and other body metrics that is also already available in the wearable devices that we have discussed, like on the Apple Watch, Apple smart watches. You can have your ECG if you have any issues. So that is all possible because of IoT. Now, what are the major obstacles? So high cost of, obviously, whenever we are working with simple hardware projects, so it's quite different from an IoT one. So high cost of required investment in IoT infrastructure, obviously that is there. But if we see that it is automating so many tasks, so obviously the cost, we don't consider that high cost. Then obviously there are concerns about security and privacy of the data that we have to be very careful. And then the if you're using IoT in certain industries, so there is lack of senior management knowledge commitment about that these particular blocks. So as an engineer, we have to see that. So then basically there are some weaknesses in if you're using it in the industry. So if there are some weaknesses in the organization, technology, infrastructure. So we have to reframe that accordingly, according to the needs of the IoT. Because because when we are using this in the industry, that is known as IIoT, that is the industry IoT. So see, in our at our places, we in industries, this is actually helping in now, because most of the automation in industry, that is going to be very helpful, and that is going to automate the things. And in our homes, we have we have, so we are automating very small tasks with the help of IT, though they are also very helpful to us. But industrial IoT, it is at a very large scale. So these are the major obstacles that are for the industrial IoT deployment. So regulation, obviously we have different regulations relating to the data privacy in a particular industry. So then immaturity of the industry standards. There are some standards that are around we have to fulfill around the IoT. Then economic uncertainty is obviously there. Then obviously undeveloped consumer awareness. So the consumers, some of the consumers, they are not aware of these technologies. Then absence of a certain business model for these technologies, that is also a major obstacle for the IoT deployment in industries. If we talk about the research challenges as a researcher, as a candidate, as a teacher, as a faculty member for the students, so if you want to continue or do our research in these areas, so these are some of the research challenges also. Scalability, because there are massive number of devices that are available that we have to connect. So we have to sometimes handle data generated by so many devices also. Reliable coverage should be there, internet connectivity should be good. Obviously, when we are talking about the 4G or the 5G, then basically you must have heard about this word fog computing, edge computing, and fog computing. So we have to move the cloud services to the edge of the network. That is basically that is known as fog computing, and reduce data to be stored, that we have to see that we have whatever data that is required for that we have to store. So we must have the processing and the storage capability of the cloud services also. So lot many cloud services are available, some amount of data in the AWS and other clouds you can save. So that is not a big issue for small projects, but for very large projects that is again a problem. So that we have to buy the cloud services or the services, so that we have to manage. Then power consumption problems. Obviously, we have to see this power consumption. Obviously, that will be there based upon the scale of the project or the product, industrial product. Yes, I was talking about the case study when I was talking about the smart grid. So this is a IoT-based electric energy monitoring smart energy meter. This is just if you want to motivate our students, so that is they can make a small project based upon any of the problems that we are facing. So obviously here we are using the electric energy meter. So basically, and the sensors are there, sensor. Then we have used an Arduino Uno board, that is a microcontroller, then a Wi-Fi module, broadband internet, obviously, cloud storage is there, and finally an Android app. And obviously, if you want to give the message to the consumer, obviously we have to use the mail, or we can even do it through the message also, to the WhatsApp also, that we can modify. So this is just a block diagram that is showing a small application that we can implement. This is just a small case study. So this is just you can see whatever I have shown you in the previous slide. So this is a picture taken of the whole project, so we can motivate our students to do these types of small, because if we motivate them to do small projects from the first year, from the second year, they will be very confident till the final year, and they can work on really very advanced projects where we can use advanced techniques like AI also, along with the IoT robotics we can use, and AI basically. So obviously this is the app for monitoring the energy consumption. It is the same project that I have shown you some of the glimpses of the different steps. So first was the block diagram, second is the hardware that in all the devices that are being used, sensors as well as a smartphone and all, and this is the GUI as I talked in the first or the second slide, that obviously when you are working on a certain problem, you have to some user interface has to be there, obviously. So we can use different softwares where we can interface with our hardware and the softwares that we are using, and we can use them and display whatever information we want on that particular graphical user interface. So basically in this project, so Adafruit IO platform was used to display the information basically. It's some here again. I am showing you some of the applications. Though I have discussed many applications, but smart thermometers. So if everyone remembers the time of COVID-19, so these were applications uh, that were used that were very helpful at that time. IoT applications and many new products and many new products came into being during that particular 2020 and 2021. So smart thermometers, because the problem was that you have to basically because of COVID-19, everything used to be touchless. So then the thermal imaging drone, that was the second very important. So this was only the thermal imaging drone. Then here the first image that you can see here, this is a disinfectant drone. Obviously, I talked earlier also, because if we are using IoT, obviously we are working with some other. When we have to automate the things, we have to use a certain drone or a robot or some other means to automate our application, or automate our whatever problem we are working on. So disinfectant drone, that this was used to disinfect the certain hospital areas, or even we can now use in agriculture. We are using the drones to sprinkle the pesticides in the whole on the whole field. So this is very common nowadays. Then autonomous swab test robots, they were developed during that particular time. So these were also based on IoT. So this was application during the COVID-19, and then IoT Q band was also, and this is also now being used. It's not like that we used at that time only. So we are using the same products in some other application. So this was an IoT Q band that was developed during that particular time only. That was a variable band, and that was basically it is giving you the um, details of the patient. So it is a variable band that has a sensing node, and that is information that is given on the this Android service call, and over this will be information will be given to the cloud, and obviously it will inform the authorities real-time location of the patients, then location history of the patient also, then any other information we want of that. So this is the whole overall picture of how this IoT Cube works. So basically, this is very helpful in hospitals. So this was developed at that time in the 2020. It was developed, but it can be used now also, because there are many patients, those who can't walk or they have to, and this technology is also already being used in certain hospitals. So this was a collaborative robot for disinfecting hospital areas. So this was also based on this technology, that is the Internet of Things. So this was known as XT Bot, collaborative robot for disinfecting hospital areas, and this is also now being used. So I think this is the image from Japan. I think this was taken from some paper only. So this was actually started at that time, and it is also now being used. IoT button I have already, so this is the close picture of the IoT button. Yes, this was also developed at this time. Spot, that is social distancing robot, that was actually used in Singapore at that time. So it was just moving. Basically, it had a camera. It has a camera, and with the help of IoT, it is just informing or giving certain alarm to the people who were, because at the time social distancing was very important. So so this was a robot that was developed at that time. So I would like to conclude. So the IoT has, so if you, from all the previous slides that we have discussed, so basically what I want to say is the IoT has the potential to increase the availability of the information in a very drastic way, and it can easily transform the different companies and organizations, our institutions, in every possible way, but we have to work on it. And obviously there are, it is not a single technology, the number of different technologies that are supporting this, because I cannot say that IoT will work alone, as I have shown you different applications. So we have seen that it is working with robotics, it is working along with the drones. Obviously, we have to work on those areas also, right? So it is not a single technology that can work. So we have to collaborate it with other technologies. Though I have not discussed anything much about AI in my presentation, but if you want to work on that, that is also we are working on some projects that are using IoT with AI also. So that is also very important. We are working on certain for the sensory impaired persons. We can work on certain problems used on based upon AI and IoT. Then whatever the risk, basically the security risk, so all these can be overcome because of various security algorithms that they are available, so we can easily work on that, so that is not a big issue. So, and already IoT has proved to be one of the successful technologies, one in facing the challenges that were actually there during COVID-19. So, and after that, it has even, so as we have seen that in the graph also, it's increasing day by day, year by year. Sorry, so it's around 15% every year. It's the growth of IoT devices is there. So as I've discussed the privacy and security of data, so but we can easily manage that by, because we have to work on those algorithms also, and so in the health sector, in the agriculture sector, and in various other sectors, as we have discussed the different applications, we can use use this technology along with the other collaborative technologies, and we can solve the different problems and that are faced in our day-to-day life with the help of IoT. Thank you so much.